him and that the enemy team don't have great single target for him early on as far as spells go, he could be a very powerful pick. This would not be the worst Dragon Knight game ever, but I think Virtus.Pro aren't interested in it anyway, since they tend to mid-lane their Bristleback and safe lane the Gyro. So I'm expecting the last hero from them is going to be the off-lane hero probably here for DK Phobos, as NiP, they're going to get a PL. And we've seen that, I think, once or twice in this tournament. The one very memorable game for me was Alliance having it against Na'Vi, and Loda kind of couldn't really engage very much with his PL because he was going to run into a lineup that would just kill his Illus and kill him very fast. And it's difficult if you can't like overrun your opponent, and you're picking it into Wyvern, who already is pretty decent against PL. Bristle and Gyro, that's a hell of a lot of confidence to put in your PL, and Era has to play a great game here.
Do you feel that there perhaps would be a better carry pick instead of the PL?
I think. I definitely think that could have been a better pick, but it's just a good pick for their team. Like, they tend to play very well around the PL, so even if he's not the best available hero in the pool, he might be the best pick for their team, and then you can definitely justify it in that way. But in my opinion, this is a pretty weak PL game, but he could surprise.
Yeah, the other thing is that it seems like PL doesn't synergize too well with the rest of his team anyways. You're not really comboing into any... I mean, you have the Vacuum and Dream Coil, but, you know, what we're going to do, Lance after that? There's not much.
Vacuum into Lance, wow.
Doppelganger on top. But yeah, I mean, I guess for the most part, we're going to see NiP playing for... Not for Protect 1, but I imagine PL is going to be off the map, split pushing on his own, and then you expect the rest of NiP to start fighting for objectives or gank or have random skirmishes in the jungle.
The scary thing for them, though, is that you know what VP are going to do. Like, they're going to fight around minute 10 to 20, and your PL split push is great if the other heroes can hold the towers and prevent, just avoid losing teamfights, basically. But I don't know if these other heroes can actually hold us. They're going to last pick the Centaur here for DK Phobos. Just the raw teamfight potential and ganking ability out of Virtus.Pro's lineup is sick. And NiP, their weakness in the series they played against VP earlier this tournament, where they got beaten 2-0, was they played reactively with their supports instead of actively and just got run over. And to me, this feels like another draft where the exact same thing could happen after they decided to go for both DS and PL.
Yeah, so what you meant by reactively was you have the Virtus.Pro heroes diving a tower, and the supports are forced to TP. Once they TP, maybe they save a hero, but then they're kind of stuck there for a bit, and then another lane would get ganked and they have to rotate. It's never NiP supports that's the one that's initiating, that's forcing the fights. So I think that's something we also have to look for from Hanskin as well as SealKit. And so far, it's, you know, Undying and whatever they pick, they're pretty good at forcing aggression.
They're good at setting up, like, if you break into team fights, they're great at it, but they're not good at forcing the engagements in the first place, like, at least not skirmishes, right? Undying is a pretty weak skirmish here, in my opinion. There are some niche situations where it can be really nice if you're good to and you set up with that, but then, once again, it depends on the others being in the right place at the right time rather than Undying himself. He needs to be set up for that. And now that they grab a Lion, they actually do have the initiation power. I like this pick a lot. We don't see it so much these days, as he has fallen off quite a bit. A big part of it, in my opinion, is that Hex, of course, does not remove evasion anymore.
Yes.
It only applies mute, not break. And has been a pretty big blow to Lion, as we're going to see. In my opinion, looking over the draft here, I think VP have a pretty clear advantage just based on playstyle and how the two lineups match up against each other. But if NiP do get ahead, they can make so much space for Era to maybe carry them later on.
And they'll need to get ahead. Let's quickly introduce both teams. NiP playing on the side of Dire. We have SealKit playing that line. Johannes Van playing the Darkseer. Era on the Phantom Lancer. Limp playing his famous Puck. And last but not least, a little bit apart from his team, Hanskin playing that Undying.
Virtus.Pro are going to pause. FNG in a nice pose on his Winter Wyvern. Next time is going to be low on the Rubik. Played very well. This duo of supports for VP yesterday. A big part of their victories was, of course, on their early game aggression and great rotations. Illidan on his Gyro. Mid lane we got G on Bristle, who got... In the series against Na'Vi, that was Na'Vi's solution to VP, was just to gank God every game. They just ganked him really hard in the mid lane. We're going to see if NiP are going to try something similar. And finally, of course, DK Phobos Centaur. Looking to do a little bit of a lane swap here. Seems to be an aggressive trial lane that VP are planning.
I'm not sure if ganking G will work out as well. I mean, in the game where they ganked G repeatedly was maybe a little fight here. Although I think the NiP support is going to back off. They had a Winter Wyvern Undying into with the DK stun. and they were just sieging him from afar.
Yeah.
And they did kill G multiple times, but I don't think the NiP support in this game will have that kind of killing power.
I don't think they can.
Yeah.
Basically, at least when Bristleback reaches just level 3 or level 4, so he has a couple points in Bristleback. Lion's Hex, you can still turn around, right? So
yes.
It's... Yeah, they're pretty limited as far as ganking G, and he is very good at playing the lane, so I think Limp will definitely have his work cut out for him. Just look at G already going aggressively here in this Puck versus Bristle matchup. Worth noting as well, G got the bounty rune, and Limp didn't. They gave it to the Darkseer, so...
That's an interesting
He has a head start for sure.
Yeah. Puck is laying down the harass, though, in the mid lane. Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Hex still cancels Vanguard, correct? In terms of the damage block.
It kind of should because it mutes, right? So
yes. So
I would assume so, but I'm not 100% on because some things were changed. I can't remember if that is the case. But
maybe Knoxville could give us a quick fact check.
Here's the stat for you guys: it blocks or doesn't block.
Which is going to be important because Bristleback generally does go Vanguard first. Although on the mid lane it might differ a little bit. We'll see what G is going to go for his item of choice. Looks like we're going to see a lane rotation. Illidan porting to the bottom. He should have a fairly decent time against Darkseer, although his attack range is fairly low, so he might eat some Iron Shell harass.
And yeah, as you talked about before with G with a Vanguard build, also worth noting there's no good Silver Edge carrier at all on NiP's lineup. So Bristleback, I think, is going to be a very powerful hero in this game that NiP, in my opinion, don't really have a good solution for at all if he gets decent farm. So either you gank him or you need to try to avoid the team fights that are inevitably going to be coming from VP round mid at 10 to 20 as talked about pregame. So
the thing is, I think the way that NiP faced against Bristleback yesterday was they just try to kill everybody else instead. They left Loda alone for the most part. With that said, they also had a Bane that was nightmaring him, that was enfeebling him, so I think NiP in this particular draft have much fewer ways to control him. And at the same time, it was like a third pick Bristleback, so it wasn't like a last pick surprise that caught, you know, NiP. So we'll see how NiP deals with this Bristleback, who's right now having a fairly decent time against Puck mid. He's getting a little bit harassed in the mid lane. I don't think he'll die at all, though. Yeah, he should be fine.
Hanskun's trying to get something out of this early game. Currently sitting on level 1 on Undying minute 3. It's not what you want to see. But kind of limited in his options. They aren't really able to kill any lanes. And the good news for them is that they aren't getting killed either. So Jonas is having a pretty good bottom lane up to level 4 against DK Phobos' level 2 in the Radiant off lane. So that's definitely a big advantage for NiP as Era also topping the charts farm-wise. Question is if they can transition this into something bigger over the next few minutes as Limp harassing G in mid. Obviously not going to be enough here, but definitely putting on some pressure.
That's always the scary thing when Puck fires an orb at the Bristleback, because he could jaunt towards the orb and suddenly he's in front of the Bristleback, and you Waning Rift right after, and he's going to take a ton of damage. But right now, Waning Rift is only level 1. And G is regenning quite a bit, and in fact, he's bottle crawling as well.
Oh, Phobos is in a lot of trouble. One more tech should do it, but the cold embrace from FNG. Perfect timing on the rotation. Just barely saving him from that lion attack.
No mana for Era to lance after, because that also would have been the kill. So we know exactly what VP's looking for. Obviously, DK Phobos, once they get level 6, as well as the support rotations from FNG as well as Little, they could pick a couple kills here and there early on. What about NiP? Are they really much dependent on Limp getting an early blink to set up the aggression? Because to me, that's their only true ganker, apart from a Lion walking in.
They are definitely dependent on the blink on Puck. It's the biggest item for them to get in this game, I think, so that they have a chance of fighting back. They first phase picked the Puck, so it's definitely a part of their game plan to use him as a way of fighting back against NiP, which is something they'll have to do. It was the problem they had earlier in the series yesterday, so they should have adapted to some extent, which we are, of course, seeing. Like, these picks are pretty different from what NiP did run yesterday. But so far, no success in the ganks. Very close on the top lane, as mentioned, but...
Yeah, bottom lane, Darkseer forced to TP because he got lifted there by Rubik, so a good 30-second loss. Mid lane though, Bristleback taking a ton of damage. You know, I didn't think that Puck was gonna have this of a good time against Bristleback mid. Undying did come in once or twice, but really forcing Bristleback to bottle crow non-stop, and even with the bottle crow, he's still having trouble sustaining in the lane.
Yeah, it's just I think, he got a bounty rune there. I'm not sure if that's the only rune he's got so far. He might have got 2, actually. So yeah, Limp just harassing him just very much here. It's going to get weaker over time, though. When Bristleback starts getting up more points into his Bristleback ability, and of course, building toward the Vanguard you mentioned, this harassment's going to be... He's going to just ignore it, basically, at that point. So Limp has to try to play like this and build whatever advantage he can. Currently, 4 CS advantage, not the biggest of deals. And just looking over the farm, it's pretty even overall. And the question is that good enough for NiP? So the supports... We've just got this feeling that their support should really be able to find more in this early game. When you pick Undying and Line, you definitely do not want First Blood to come after 6 minutes, but that's what it's looking like right now. Is might have tried for Phobos, but not orbing.
Yeah, if it's going to come at all. So Limp does have that coil, so I think that's going to be the first point of aggression on this top rune if VP decides to fight for it. And it looks like a little bit of Arctic Burn. Coil is available. Do they want to use it? Yes, they will. Tombstone is going to get dropped. FNG on the high ground, but he's not running from those zombies. Still getting right-clicked by Limp, and looks like this is where the First Blood will come. There's a Hex to follow through. Orb will be up in 2 seconds, but Limp is going to get the First Blood just from right-click, and that's exactly what he needs. He's already almost at 1,000 gold, so is this a game where you just straight up rush the Blink because your team is so dependent on it, or do you upgrade the Treads?
I think you get Blink, for sure. The Treads aren't going to do much. It's more of a lane domination build, either getting Treads or Phase, so you can sustain and hit harder in lane and just farm without using spells as well, but... As mentioned, he's probably not going to be able to kill the Bristleback anyway with a Treads build up, so focus on ganking the other lanes, on enabling Era in this game by pressuring especially the Centaur. Because who really counters the PL in this game? Mainly the Gyro with Flak Cannon, of course, and just the inability for PL to really charge in early on, just getting owned by Rocket Barrage. It's that, and it's the Blink Stun from the Centaur, who is definitely not having the best of games right now. Phobos is... Maybe gonna... No. He will
Stout Shield proc? No, okay.
Even Stout Shield wouldn't have saved him. Like 8 health.
So, Winter Wyvern Ultimate against PL. How do you think that's... I mean, you don't need to find the real PL. You just ultimate one of his allies, and suddenly PL's killing him for you. It's not a direct counter, but at least deals with him partially.
It gets really good when PL gets a Defusal, because then he might just... hands down just kill one of his cores on his own, like even without helping. So definitely a strong counter pick as well. It's quite a ways away though for FNG, who only just now cracks level 3 minute 8. And all in all, the support levels in this game fairly low. Undying and Wyvern level 3, Rubik and Line level 4 minute 8, and they're on the lower end of level 4 as well.
And it seems so far NiP is really controlling the game plan. The game is going slow, which is great for their PL. Limp is doing well in the mid lane, who actually did go back for the Treads, which, I mean, I think it's still okay, especially with the Tread toggling with the bottle. But I totally agree with you with the quick Blink Dagger. I feel like the team is fairly dependent on it. But with that said, NiP is popping that haste and they're ganking up top, and Centaur is going to be the focal point once again. Coil, let's see if he's going to use it. The orb completely misses. They will have Raining Rift with a lift onto Little. He still has Coil. It's going to Coil onto the 2 support, and suddenly VP support in huge trouble. Little is going to go to the trees on the left. He's going to die. FNG's trying to try to heal himself, but no Skagar, as NiP picks up 3 kills off a haste rune from Limp. And that tier 1 tower is starting to have a little bit of trouble on the top lane as well.
Yeah, it's a very, very different NiP and a different VP, I want to say, that we're seeing so far today in this game. VP have barely tried to make a move on any lane with their 2 supports to gank, whereas NiP have started moving around, both Undying and Lion getting active, and now, of course, their mid lane Puck. They're off to a very, very good start here. It's not just about the kills, it's also just the time that they're buying this way, where VP supports not really finding much momentum here with level 3 and 4, and their support duo itself doesn't really have that much kill power either.
I think that's partially due to the draft. I mean, when there's Undying putting Iron Shell and shoving out the lane, and then the mid where Puck could just phase shift and orb out on multiple gank attempts, it's just really difficult for that Rubik and Winter Wyvern to find too much.
The thing is, they knew it was a Puck right from the start. Right? Or no, the first overall pick of the game was Undying for NiP, and then they counterpicked with, what was it, Gyro and Rubik, I think? Yes. So they could have tried to deal a lot better with the Puck that they already saw in the second pick, which they haven't done so far. And you're right, as far as Puck goes, he could have a very, very good game here, where only the real ability he needs to watch out for is Wyvern or Winter's Curse, which isn't available, and the Telekinesis, which Well,
unreliable.
Not really reliable yet, at least.
Yeah.
Or, well, not reliable in general. If Limp sees Rubik, he will always be able to just blink silence him from any sort of fog as Hanskin.
It's picked off.
Goes down. Pillow going the other way here for VP, and of course they do have a bit of a comeback mechanic, or at least so they think with their Ancients, but it's actually blocked with a ward in the last 2 minutes from NiP, so only going to be able to get a double stack here is G, and I think they know it's blocked, so he's just going to farm it now to at least get that out of it.
Alright. Yeah, I'm just going to keep a camera on Limp and see when that Blink Dagger's coming. 1,300 goals, so less than 1,000 away. Still doing good. I like the way that he's being very aggressive, and he's moving to the bottom already. There's a lift onto Era, who teleported in, and it looks like Illidan is going to be the focus. Coil is available. No, it's not even necessary.
And they might just get Lil with it.
Yeah, let's see if he's going to get the TP out. Ooh, just a second late. Limp holding that Coil perhaps for a little bit too long.
That's one of those situations where if you consider the options Rubik had for escaping, you have a very high percentage chance of landing the coil by just throwing it in a good spot in between the trees. But if he doesn't know if Rubik has ported yet, he would essentially just coil and then Rubik could maybe TP out. So wants to get the intel first, and unfortunately he gets it a little bit too late. Yeah.
This tier 1 tower, if it goes to the side of NiP, it's going to give Limp's Blink Dagger almost. Vanguard is finished on Bristleback. Is there any defense from Virtus.Pro on this tower? Looks like not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
They need to buy time for Phobos, who's had a hard game. He's not even level 6 in his offlaner in 12 minutes. Now finally he does get the Stampede ability, which is going to be...
They're teleporting in. I'm not sure about this. Wall is dropped. Tower does go down, but the TPs are continuing coming in. Let's see if NiP wants to retreat or fight. Meanwhile, Arctic Burn from the Wyvern on the rest side, but he just gets burned down. Phobos are coming in. He's looking for a stomp. It's going to be a 2-man stomp. Era gets burned down on the left side. G is coming as well. Hanskin trying to TP out. Will he make it home? Oh no, he barely... Yeah. Oh, no, he just died. It looked close, and then, okay.
He barely doesn't.
Yeah, he barely does not. Virtus.Pro, that was a pretty good defense. We didn't think that they were going to do it, but once Centaur popped it, though, everybody on Virtus.Pro just came in and ran everybody down.
It was a really good play from FNG on the Wyvern. It looked like he just died for nothing, but the way he initiated, he came in from the side, he got Arctic Burn on a couple of heroes as well, Splinter Blast slowing them down, and then he just walked in and died. But the way he died, he forced out a couple of key spells and allowed his team to wrap around. And his only goal there was just to keep NiP around, and they do grab themselves 3 kills there. Still lose their tower though.
Alright, NiP is trying to defend or get a tower up top, and Era taking a ton of damage from that call down. So is Johannes-Fan. Johannes-Fan's going to go work on the mech first, which is going to be very crucial since VP will start to bring the aggression now that with Centaur Ultimate online. Also in that fight, Rubik hit level 6 as well, so that's pretty big for him.
Yeah, what's he going to grab? That's the question. These Ancients, or sorry, not Ancients, but this hard camp stack being farmed up by Lil right now. It's going to leave some of it, and you know, it's worth mentioning that you were talking about how G lost the mid lane a bit. Well, not really lost it, but he drew, right?
Right.
And now he's pulling ahead by quite a margin of 25 CS lead. He hasn't died either, as expected, to be honest. They don't have that good solutions for the Bristle, and I think this is concerning for NiP. After a really good early game, if they take a look at this Bristle, they're going to have a very hard time dealing with him and bringing him down. And it's great that Era is farming quite well here. If they lose their jungle early, they could be in a lot of trouble, so they need to secure Era access to this jungle for a longer time. Maybe at least their warding is pretty good, so they might avoid those rotations right now. Will
there be a point in time where once PL gets the Diffusal Blade and you just send a whole bunch of illusions on that Bristleback, and sure, not going to kill him, but you burn all of his mana, and suddenly he becomes much less of a threat? Is that going to be a possible scenario in this game? Or?
Absolutely. It's something you definitely want to do if you can get away with it as PL, but it's still quite far away. Era went for the farming buildup, which I can definitely agree with here, getting the Yasha first, so you can keep your jungling going very fast. PL is different from most other heroes that like to transition into the jungle in that he doesn't tank the jungle at all, because you just get illusions very fast with Juxtapose. You can even use Doppelganger, and then because of that, you don't need the lifesteal that other heroes tend to get to jungle, like either Mask of Madness or Helm of the Dominator. As we get the engage, did not hit on G actually with the coil.
How did I miss?
So I have no idea. It looked like that was easily going to hit. Tombstone going to be used as well. Nice curse onto Hanskin, as G will try to maul down this Tombstone, taking a lot of damage though, and it will be healed as well. Call down coming in though. The mech has been used, but there comes the Stampede. Nice counter initiation from Limp with the silence as well as Orb. And this looks like, well, who's winning this fight? It looks like VP might come out on top. They get 2 for 1. And Era should be able to get out at the end.
Yeah, Virtus.Pro is just way too tank, but it's not over yet. Illidan very low, the backing backward. Iron Shot doing a ton of damage. They will bring down Illidan, and right now FNG is crawling away on that dragon. Looks like they're not going to give chase, but I think at the end, well, it's a 3 for 1. Is it over? No, G is still chasing.
I think he's going to give up on it. Well, Lil isn't done yet. He has a spell steal available. Let's see what he grabs here. He gets Surge.
Oh, he'll at least himself out. Good grab for him. So it looked really weird in that fight. Even I think if the coil hit G, I think he still would have been fine. He was just so tanky. And now Crimson Guard's on. So basically that will nullify any zombie damage.
It is such a good item against PL as well.
Yeah. And now G's just...
He doesn't care.
He sees 3 heroes like, yeah, I'm going to just turn my back.
Okay, he cares a little bit.
Tower is going to get denied. But I think the critical thing to point out is that Lion also is very close to his blink. And suddenly we're going to see a scenario where, sure, Bristleback's going to be very tanky, but NiP could just force a fight 5v4, because when you have 2 people blinking in with a Finger of Death, let's say Little or maybe FNG, they're going to just get blown up immediately if they don't position well.
Yeah, but it's a little bit different from usual Alliance scenarios where if you blink Hex, you have to impale fast, because else you can stampede away the Hex here from Phobos. So they have to be very well timed on their goes, but it is definitely possible, and it is a big item as Phobos, speaking of blinks, just managed to grab his. I think VP are just looking to fight now. They will go top and they'll try again, and NiP realize this and they start split pushing bottom already with Era's PL, forcing at least Illidan to stay down here, who also went for a Yasha buildup on his Gyro. So the farm definitely flowing well for both sides, and a dead even game right now.
Well, Seal Kid is going to get ganked as Blink Hoof Stomp into a double edge. It looks like G's trying to get the KS on, but Phobo gets the kill. So, like you said, the aggression is on. I don't think they will try to defend this tower without that line, though.
It's going to be difficult. He has buyback if they want to try for a cute play like that, but it can be really costly if it fails. His Blink Dagger will essentially get delayed a good 3 or 4 minutes with a misplay.
They have Glyph available and Coil. Maybe they could last long enough.
This is not happening, I think. Well,
they're trying.
They might be thinking about it, actually. PL porting in. He's going to go on G, who, I don't know. He's going to get the Courier by the looks of almost. No, the Arctic Burn will allow it. FNG will claim that one, and they still have barely scratched him as nice Winter's Curse as well. Into the stomp. Jonas is in trouble, but look at the burst. Down goes the Centaur, and VP, they might lose more.
Yeah, they are chasing on GG. Walks out of it. Little's going to be in trouble. Here comes Illidan, though. Call down hits on everybody, dispelling NiP. They just forced to go left and right, and Winter Wyvern still on the backline doing so much work. G now coming with the damage. They will bring down Johannes Fan as well. Lim trying to get what he can for his team. FNG on the run, and now he heals himself up. Meanwhile, Era in a lot of trouble to the Quill Spray. G is still in there. G is right-clicking. He's so tanky. Bristle back, don't mess with him. Meanwhile, FNG on the left side will go down. It's a carnage on the top lane. 4 for 3 trade. I guess a NiP victory as both their cores survive, and they brought down Illidan, who's just charging in, doing his thing, but he's died twice in a row now.
And they actually saved their tower, too. That's really impressive. They didn't have to, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't buy back the Lion, right?
No.
They just delayed it long enough for him to respawn and port in, and as a result, he almost has his Blink Dagger. The only thing they expended to defend the tower was, of course, the Glyph, which they will be getting back. Let's say VP claimed this tower in a short while. They will still have the Glyph for the next one, so
right.
Pretty nice hold.
I guess the only loss, or the other loss, was the Courier just randomly flew by.
Yes,
that's a tower worth of gold for VP, so.
If you look at the gold graph, I think that's exactly what you're seeing, actually. They kill the Courier, they get ahead, and then they lose the fight in the end there.
Yeah.
So, absolutely. Good fight for both sides. I think Illidan there, the saving grace with the call down. If that doesn't come there, I think NiP get a much better fight instead of a pretty much even trade all in all.
The thing is,
mid lane, Jonas is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he's dead.
He is
super dead.
Very, very, very dead.
Speaking on the call down, I feel that the way the NiP fights, they're pretty much clumped for a call down almost every time. You drop the tombstone, you kind of just run in. PL is always in the center of things, or he tries to be. So I feel that Illidan is going to have a grand old time call downing, and that flag is going to hit just about everybody as well.
That's very true. It's the nature of NiP's lineup. And of course, Flak Cannon does work against Tombstone zombies.
As in, the Tombstone zombie will block it?
No, they get hit by flat cannon, right? Because it's an...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
sorry, when you said flat cannon, I thought rocket barrage, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's one of the few abilities that actually does hit zombies, and it means that Undying doesn't really get to have the same... Like, he doesn't have the same snowball-y effect in the fights until flat cannon is over, or if Gyro just gets blown up, as this could be a big fight. NiP, they're going to put the tombstone, but they're actually just flat out too late. It just goes the way of G, who already seemed immortal. Now he's very immortal. There's a good Winter's Curse, Seal Kid. Gonna get blown up before he gets a spell off by the looks of it. Nice coil, though, coming in here from Limp. Still not enough, as they've already lost 2.
Meanwhile, the vacuum on the left side, look at Illidan. He's kind of stuck there. Can he make the TP on Anshao? Doing a lot of damage. And he's going to go down to the decay on the back line. G now in a lot of trouble, but he is Bristleback. In fact, he's turning around to fight this. 2 heroes dead for NiP already. Coil now stolen, going against the side of NiP. He's going to jump back out, but the coil will still break. Era now fighting back at GG. Gets healed up. Again, they just don't have an answer for this Bristleback. Those PL Legions trying to fight and wail away, but G's like, yep, I will be immortal for the next 10 to 15 minutes until the Diffusal Blade comes online. And speaking of Diffusal Blade, Era's about halfway done. More than halfway done, actually.
I'm actually starting to wonder if that's going to be enough either. Like, I think when G has Aegis, if NiP don't manage to burst a couple of other key heroes very early, they can't win the fight. It's just not possible. Like, G is just way too big. He's not counter-picked. He's not counter-itemized. Diffusal is, of course, a decent choice, but I just don't think it's going to cut it. I'm wondering, in this kind of game, I know it might sound really funky and weird. I'm wondering if Limp should actually not have gone for this Yules he's building and considered a Sill Bridge, to be honest. So they had a solution, because G is proving to become a really big problem in this game. He's now going to have an SNY as well, minute 20. So Crimson Guard SNY, the highest CS in the game. He is the one hero in the fights they simply cannot deal with, and if you don't counter that particular hero that just runs you over, the game's going to get difficult. And so far they've done pretty well on the side of NiP, but
I definitely agree on the fact that G is undealable for the side of NiP, but I think the good thing that they have going for them is that Gyrocopter has been dying every single fight.
Yes.
And on that note, I'm very surprised that they gave the Aegis to the Bristleback, who honestly is not going to die. I wonder if they were in a panic situation where they thought NiP was coming in, so they picked up the Aegis immediately. Because I'm sure Gyro needs this Aegis much more.
I would agree. I would have put it on Gyro in that situation as well. As if the one thing they might have considered is that, well, G has a kill streak, so we don't want to give that gold away in case we take a bad fight. But that's kind of the only really big benefit. I don't think he needed to be scared in the first place anyway of committing like fully, just going all in.
It is allowing him to play this far up, though, as he's just wailing down this T2 tower. And NiP has no answer. And I'm not thinking that Virtus.Pro is going to stop. But like, yeah, let's go high ground. There is that Diffusal Blade finish.
Good timing.
They will need it. And again, this is where you could, ignore the Bristleback. Put him up in the air, put the Yule Scepter, Diffusal Blade to slow him down, and kill the rest of Virtus.Pro.
Yes, that is what they need to do. They need to commit disables just to stall, or keep G away, and try to find other pickoffs. They're going to glyph here. Limp! Oh, that was not the initiation he was looking for. Seal Kid is gone as well. 2 for 0 already for VP. The rest of the NiP side needs to get the hell out of there. And that's a big loss. This could just be a base push. No buyback on either hero for NiP. They've used the Tombstone as well. And FNG is going to style all over that in his Dragon form.
That's worth 150 gold, so not bad. It's going to be 30 seconds till NiP respawns on the puck. The good thing is, once he does respawn, he will have his coil ready. Finger of Death has been expended in that last fight, though, so they lose a lot of burst of power, and they will need everything they can get. And now the high ground siege will begin. Hanskin, a little bit trouble, and you can see that G's mana is being burned. Slowly. Still
has 13, 14, 15 on the wand, as well as a bottle charge. Should be fine. Jonas is trying to come in for a vac wall. That's going to probably get him on the wrong side of things, as he's going to be out for 50. Oh, what a curse as well. Hanskin gone.
Well, they're trying to focus on G, but I think G's fine with losing his life. Being on the back line here, Coil hits on 3, but they just don't have the damage output. Impale's going to kill on the Rubik, but G is just zoning all the support out. Yule Scepter on the front line. Looks like Coil has, the Stampede has been used. Illidan dropping low. Looks like Illidan's going to drop down once again. Era, can he make it out alive? He actually wants to fight. He looks for Phobos. He gets Phobos, but G is still on the front line. He doesn't have any mana left anymore. High ground is breached, and G looks like he's going to focus on the range racks, and there's nothing really Puck can do about it.
He doesn't give a shit. He's just standing there and delivering. I'm wondering if they want to try exactly this buyback from the PL.
Can they kill him twice?
G's like, oh, okay. Let me just get your range tracks casually and then start walking out. He's going to Crimson Guard and get healed.
He's actually going to die here.
Not sure if using the Crimson Guard before Aegis was the right play. He's buying a lot of time and actually starting to deal some decent damage, but this is going to be G's first death of the game. I do not think he's going to get out from this. He's going to need some Houdini.
His team has left
play here.
He doesn't have a TP. He's definitely dead.
Oh my god, he's dealing damage though. Stampede!
Alright, the Yule Scepter is nicely safe for him, but look at how... Okay.
Oh my god. He almost got 2 kills.
Alright.
1 on 5.
What streak do you give up? That's an 8-kill streak.
And it goes to Era. That's a big kill.
It pays for his buyback.
Yes.
So...
Did he have the minus gold on him at the time? It was gone.
Yeah. They took him so long to actually kill. The buyback timer ended. Alright, so... I think if you're a VP, you're still very happy with the exchange. You got tier 3, you got a buyback,
Absolutely.
You got a range racks, yeah.
Absolutely.
Will they be able to make the same play without the Aegis now?
Yes.
They're going to just go again, you're saying?
I absolutely think they can. They can choose not to. They can wait for the BKB on G, and then they're very, very safe. And they can, of course, secure the Roshan as well. As it's for sure that NiP will try to contest them down there, but just judging from how the last couple of fights have gone, the thing they need to be most careful with is Limp cannot allow himself to get lifted by Rubik. He dies instantly after he gets lifted. Didn't get any spells off in the fight down here. If that happens again, the fight is over before it even starts.
In the top lane, he also blinked into a Who Stomp, which was a very unfortunate event. Looks like the fight's going to break out now. Oh, they're going to get an illusion again, but Winter's Curse is going to come out. Lim in a lot of trouble. He, like you said, gets killed before initiating. Now Hans in a tough position. He's going to try to TP out. Will he make it home? No, he will not. Meanwhile, Era on the left side, if he dies, that's a dieback. He barely makes it out, but I think with that advantage, Virtus.Pro is going to start looking for... No, the high ground is not possible as bot lane is very pushed out. That's the one thing that NiP has going for them right now.
I think NiP making the right call, trying to make a play, but that was not the location for it. This is an arena that the Radiant have such a big advantage in because of the flanking angle that Wyvern can get, because it's very easy for Centaur to blink across the crevice and just get a stomp from there.
Easy call downs.
Very, very easy call down as well. And once again, Limp did not get anything out in the fight, and it's just... He is the hero that simply has to land every single spell, or this is how it goes. NiP is going to have a very tough time holding this, as Jonas is going to get caught out as well by Rubik. Nothing coming out from him either. Does have buyback, however, as the tower will fall. He buys back now.
NiP is also going to have their puck very soon. That coil needs to be there. He TP's in, but I think Virtus.Pro is going to sense that and retreat for now. Are they going to give chase? That's a question. Still coming in slowly. Seems like Virtus.Pro wants to fight this as well. Illidan won't have cooldown for a bit.
Yeah, the BKB flying out for Bristle now, though.
Yeah, they just have no answer.
You saw how much he did 1 on 5 with no BKB? There's no way they kill him.
Right, but I think NiP has established that they're not killing the Bristleback. It's one of those, all right, can we kill the rest of the team quickly enough? Which, considering that you're dealing against a Centaur, and there's a Gyrocopter who also has a BKB, I'm thinking no.
And Cold Embrace has been a big problem for them too. Like, they have the initial spell burst, but they're relying on Era to finish off the kills with his Diffusal Blade and attacks, and all of the damage is negated. Diffusal Blade mana burn is physical damage type, so actually completely blocks off the damage. I mean, sure, your mana should still get burned, I think, when you're in Cold Embrace, but you don't take the damage and don't really care that much if they're the Bristle, to be honest, so... The other heroes might care a little bit more. I'm not sure.
Is there a way where the fights, let's say it drags on longer, does that favor NiP? On one side, you have the Cool Spray continue to like hurt much and much more. On the other side, PL becomes more and more difficult to deal with for the side of NiP. In that scenario, would NiP have a better fight, or are they better off just, let's say it's going to be a 3-man coil, 3-man impale, burst one down with Lion, and then go from there?
I think there's no other play than trying to get a single target kill immediately on the Wyvern. That's probably the best way they can start the fight, because if they kill the Rubik, I think it's not enough. And Wyvern's going to be saving heroes during the fight. As we see, they might try for it, but there's the curse again. Era and Hansgen, they're just gone immediately. 3 kills.
Coil did hide it on everybody, but yeah, that was just
FNG's curses have been super good this game. He is very quick at finding a key target. There's always someone in the proximity, and they get the call down follow-up, and this is probably, you're looking at the end of game 1. This is going to be tier 4's end. I think they could just throw it in.
Double racks, there's a GG. It was definitely the correct play to smoke from behind, because generally that's where you find the supports, but it seems like the immediate FNG response on his ultimate is just too good. That was like the 4th or 5th one where it's a puck blinking in, a line blinking in, but he gets the first jump. He gets the initial reaction, which is just too fast.
And you did see NiP showing promise, though. This is what I was talking about. Yesterday in their series against VP,